We're at the White Rock Canyon Trailhead off of Highway 93 in Arizona, just about 4 miles south of Hoover Dam. And I want to start out by saying, how you get to this trailhead. You're driving down 93, you've passed the Kingman Wash exit, and you go about 3 more miles. There's a little sign that says White Rock Canyon Trailhead, and you want to immediately get in the left lane. There's a left turn, you cross the highway, and just before this bridge, if you're heading south, and then you get to this little road that leads you up to the trailhead. Now, I missed it. I missed it the first time. And so what I found out, though, is that there is about 5 miles up a crossing on 93 up in that direction that you can take a U-turn and then head back here if you miss it. But yeah, very obscure exit, and you got to be watching very carefully. Make that left turn and cross over the freeway, and then you reach this exit. And at this time, 2021, it's January of 2021, there is no ladder at the hot spring. And so here's a little sign that tells you how to navigate the hot spring area without having that ladder. And then there are some interpretive signs here, and I'll just move along these. You can freeze the frame and read what's on the sign, learn a little bit about the area, maybe enlarge. Okay, a lot of information on that one. And then here is one more. So, what can you reach from here? Looks like there's a road that could be an interesting mountain bike experience. I'll have to take a look at that a little later. And what we're going to do, there are 3 trails here. There's the Liberty Bell Arch Trail, and there's Arizona Hot Spring Trail. And the reason I said 3 trails, you only see 2 there, is that the Arizona Hot Spring Trail actually has a loop. You can take the left loop or the right loop, and so 3 trails in all. Anyway, I'm going to go up this road just a little bit just to see what the name of this road is and what options are up in this direction. By the way, see that pointy mountain up there? I believe that's Mount Wilson, and that's going to be an adventure at some point. So there you have it. Lots of options from this spot, and we will do a little bit of exploring. Here we go. Here's our answer to that road that we saw just a moment ago, Horse Thief Canyon Road. So it's a hunting area. Interesting. We will look and see what's up Horse Thief Canyon Road in another adventure. And again, there I believe is Mount Wilson. And that will be a summit that we make later on. We don't know when, but eventually we're going to be on top of Mount Wilson. And then again, looking at the trailhead for White Rock Canyon. So let's head on out to Arizona Hot Springs. Okay, here we go. Looks like we're going to have two choices down here. We're going to either take a right and be able to go down to the river, or a left and be able to access the hot spring. But you can't do both. So, because there's no ladder at the hot spring at this time. So, we're going to make some discoveries. Here we go. And by the way, by the river, I mean the Colorado River. That's where this whole wash ends up, down at the Colorado River. And anyway, it's downhill on the way, as opposed to a lot of my other experiences, which are uphill on the way and downhill on the way back. So one thing that tells us is that, yes, it's going to be a little easier traveling on the way, but you can really get lulled into thinking this is a really easy trail. Then you turn around, then you got to go uphill on the way back. So just be prepared. Okay, and I just wanted to get you across the freeway, so we travel under the freeway bridge, and then the trail's going to split and we'll have a choice. I'll show you at that point. It's a graffiti packed sign. Anyway, we have not yet reached the point where, you know, we're right under the bridges now, just past under the highway bridges, and we haven't reached the point where the trail splits off to the right or the left and you have your choice. But we'll see when that happens. I like to get my bearings, and you never know how things are going to end up, so you want to know what's around you. And we see we're going down a main wash here. A lot of footprints, meaning that it's a very well traveled trail. And it looks like the sides of the canyon are going to get higher and higher as we go. Therefore, you've got your choice of the right or the left, and I think the left must go along the upper part of the canyon, and the right must continue along in the wash here. We don't know for sure yet. We're going to find out, because I'm going to try and take both before the day's out. Continuing along from the bridge over there, Highway 93, and looks like we've got a number of trail options. I see one that goes up to the left, and I see the main trail down in the canyon here in the wash, and there is a sign up ahead, so let's go ahead and see what that sign says. And there we go. Yeah, you can see the sign right in the center there. Let's go to that sign. Here we are. A left will take us up to, or over to the Arizona Hot Spring. I believe it's up that trail right there. And we get to Liberty Bell Arch in 1 mile this way. So, you know what? I think I'm going to go to Liberty Bell Arch, come back to this spot, and then go to the hot spring. Let's try that. Okay, Liberty Bell Arch Trail taking us down immediately into the deep canyon lands. So this should be really interesting. Okay, here we go. Wow, look at these walls around us on either side. Yeah, definitely don't want to be here during a flash flood. I can see the water roaring down this canyon. This is the Liberty Bell Arch Trail, and heading down the canyon toward the arch. That's going to be interesting. Wow, look at this. Okay, we located the White Rock of White Rock Canyon. And maybe there's more to come, but wow, that really is distinctive. Very different than the color of the landscape around us. Look at this. We're going into really rugged territory. This should be awesome. Well, definitely this is the less traveled trail in the area. Most people are heading to the hot springs, so if you'd like some solitude in this area, Liberty Bell Arch Trail might be the trail for you. It's always good when navigating areas like this that are obviously water washed and experience occasional flash flooding to just be aware of your options. Where would you escape if a wall of water came down this wash? And probably the time that would happen would be during a July thunderstorm. It's January right now, so a little less of a chance of that happening, but you always want to be prepared. This is like a wider version of Anniversary Narrows in the Muddy Mountains. But it has that same feeling. You're definitely in a waterway that is a clearly defined wash. You're not going to be going up to the right or the left. You're going to stay in the wash. Okay, here we go. Okay, another sign here. Liberty Bell Arch. About a quarter mile ago it was 1.0 miles. Still 1.0 miles. But now we're told that the Arizona Hot Spring Trail is in this canyon. So this must be the canyon approach to Arizona Hot Spring. And the other trail that we saw that was heading up is the higher top of the wash trail. And so you've got those two options when you're going to Arizona Hot Spring. And so we'll go to Liberty Bell Arch first, and then we will come back down here and head down the wash to Arizona Hot Spring. And after that, we'll see if we can circle around and hit the upper trail on the way back. No promises, because the ladder may be the only access, and the ladder is of course washed out at this point. But you know, here we are looking at the canyon trail to Arizona Hot Spring. And let's head up to Liberty Bell Arch. Overlook of the canyon trail to Arizona Hot Spring. We're on the Liberty Bell Arch Trail, and we're going to continue along that trail up in this direction. Let's do a quick 360 degree view. Here we go. Well, you can see how rugged this area is. And you want to keep your eye on where your feet are, because there's a lot of loose rock on the trail and all around. And then there are a number of drop-offs here. So if you're not watching carefully, you could be lulled into a false sense of security and walk off the edge of something. Here's some more of that white rock for which the canyon gets its name. We're continuing up toward Liberty Bell Arch. Okay, we're at a high point, but there are more high points to come, I'm sure. And you can see down the canyon there, which I believe is the Arizona Hot Spring Canyon, White Rock Canyon. But we are heading up in this direction toward Liberty Bell Liberty Bell Arch, and just give you an idea what the landscape looks like around here. One thing that I'd say is that when you're in an area like this, there are just little trails that go off in every direction. Call them rabbit trails, whatever. Look at those two trails. There's one there, a little bit this way. There's one here. And just a lot of people that are out here, you know, they go to a high point and look around. But that makes a trail. And so you got to be careful not to get lost in these canyons. I mean, it looks wide open. Oh, there's a good shot of Mount Wilson. But anyway, yeah, it looks wide open here, and yet just keep track of the trail you are on, and always look around at the land to the right and the left. Don't try to hike in a linear way. And there are some little green markers, little dots that let you know you're on the trail. Now this is looking back. We are actually going in this direction forward, but it's always good to look back as you're in an unfamiliar area so that you know what things look like on the way back, on the return trip, because it's a whole different world when you're walking in the other direction. So just be aware of that. Keep a 360-degree view as you are navigating any unfamiliar area, no matter if it looks like there's a great trail or not. Just so you can navigate not just by the linear trail you are on, because that can change, and you can see trails going off in other directions, and pretty soon you're wondering what was the real trail. And so anyway, yeah, just look around you so you can look at landmarks and points of reference. Okay, here we go. Another high point overlook of this canyon area. And you can actually see off in the distance, you can see Highway 93, and then moving up beyond, there's Mount Wilson. So, very good to have points of reference. If you got lost in these canyons, then just head for Mount Wilson. And you will cross Highway 93 on the way. Anyway, yeah, it looks like there's some mining equipment up ahead. A little pulley and some kind of container that goes across the pulley. And you can see how the walls around us are just, it's just very rugged. And then you look off in the distance, and there are trails, additional trails on the hills. You can faintly see them. There are just trails everywhere in this area. And so, you know, if you start navigating different trails, just be really careful to know which turns you took so you can find your way back. But wow, look at this. This is pretty awesome. That area around the mining equipment and pulley was pretty confusing. It seemed like I wandered around some rocks there and then rediscovered a trail on the other side. And by the way, there is the base of the pulley down in this area. So that'll be a good landmark on the way back, because I'll need to weave around the area and find my way up this hill again. But what we're looking at here is, like I said, we are back on a really nice trail, and we overlooked this trail earlier. And it looks to me like it continues on up in this direction. So I don't know if I'm still on Liberty Bell Trail and Arch, but hey, maybe I am. We'll find out when we see an arch. And it looks like there is a good candidate for an arch right up in this direction. So let's just continue on and see what we can find. Here we go. There is the arch. So we are heading the right direction. All right, Liberty Bell Arch. And the main trail looks like it goes around the left side of that bluff there up ahead. And I understand there's an awesome view of the Colorado River from that high point. So we'll see that in a moment. But for now, let's go ahead and landmarks are coming into view. So there is the arch. And then we're looking toward the canyon that leads down to Arizona Hot Spring. And then off in this direction is the now familiar peak of Mount Wilson. Always a great landmark. And then guess what? We circle around, we look in this direction, and look at that. There's Fortification Hill and that little mound up on the right side there, that little high mound. That's where the flag is, the summit. You can see in LasVegasAreaTrails.com where we went up Fortification Hill and stood on that point. And then look around a little bit more, and guess what we see right down in this direction is, let's see if I can nail it. There we go. There's the I-11 Highway 93 bridge that crosses the Colorado River, and the border between Nevada to the left and Arizona to the right, where we are now. And then you can see some of the towers in the distance of the Hoover Dam complex. So let's complete the 360-degree view. Colorado River down in the canyons over there. And there's the Liberty Bell Arch again. And we'll see it from the other side. See what kind of view we get there. And then here is the trail ascending the hill to above the arch and the overlook of the Colorado River. So yeah, now we have a better understanding where we are and the landmarks around us. So let's continue on up toward the Liberty Bell Arch and the Colorado River Overlook. Almost directly under the arch. And there you can see it. It sort of looks like a Liberty Bell. We'll see if there's a better view up ahead. But look at that blue sky right through there. How awesome. And maybe we'll go up this little side trail, see if we can get an even better view here. But there's the Liberty Bell Arch and Fortification Hill. There's the tip of Fortification Hill coming into better view. And then, wow, look at this. The area spread out below us, and across the valley there is Mount Wilson. And then just continuing around the 360, Here you can see ahead, down below that point, I believe, is the canyon that leads to Arizona Hot Spring. So let's continue. Let's go back down to the trail here and continue on up above the arch. I had to get a better view, so I headed up this trail just a little bit further. Here we are right below the arch. Okay, Colorado River has come into view. Here's a great shot looking south. This is below the Hoover Dam area. And then you can look back the other direction. We'll get a little higher, get a better look. But we can see the I-93 or I-11 Highway 93 bridge between Nevada and Arizona. And Hoover Dam's in the background. Good shot of Fortification Hill. Looking across the valley, there's Mount Wilson. And then, as you can see, we are at the edge of a huge cliff carved out by the Colorado River. And you can see trails down in this direction, which would be the Arizona Hot Springs trails. So we'll be checking those out in a bit. Let's walk along the edge up here, the edge of the canyon for the Colorado River. There's southern view. Oh yeah, look at that. What a rugged, rugged river. Okay, let's continue on up. We're just about at a high viewpoint here. And yeah, we're on the edge of a sheer canyon wall. Not too close to the edge, but yeah. Beyond to the left is a sheer, probably 500,000 foot maybe drop off. Then here's that bridge over the Colorado River. To the left is Nevada, to the right is Arizona. And more familiar things coming into view. There are the Muddy Mountains. And then here's a really good shot of Fortification Hill. Not a really good spot to be standing right here. Okay, and then Mount Wilson, and you can see Highway 93 down in the distance there. And then continuing around. Okay, this is the end of the Liberty Bell Arch Trail, and definitely if you thought you could proceed further, don't try it because the only way forward is over the edge of something that's a sheer drop off. But wow, what a view. Fortification Hill again. And there is the summit upon which we stood just a few weeks ago. Another view along the edge here. Good view with some southern points. Looking down the Colorado River. Here's another shot of Liberty Bell Arch from a higher perspective. And you can see the bell. The arch is shaped like a bell. And then the surroundings here. the arch with a sky background. There you can see it better. Liberty Bell Arch. Here we are back in the canyon, heading toward, this is where we left off actually when we went on the Liberty Bell Arch Trail, which was a right split off from the canyon up this trail. Now we're going back down into the canyon, and you can take a right, head down this canyon toward Arizona Hot Spring. So here we go. Okay, it's starting to look like a slot canyon. Let's see if I can head down this and create a non-choppy image. If suddenly you see blue sky, you know that we hit a bad spot. Now, a lot of these rocks that I'm standing on are very smooth. They've been polished by the action of water, so there's not a whole lot of traction. There we go. Okay. So far not a whole lot of challenges on this trail. Wow, look at this. Isn't this cool? You look up, it's almost like a slot canyon. Reminds me of Anniversary Narrows, only a little wider. Water making its way to the Colorado River, carving out this canyon along the way. You can almost imagine water rushing down this channel. Boy, you would have almost zero chance of climbing to safety. Continuing on down the canyon. Look at this huge boulder that had to have fallen off a wall above. That whole boulder, oh my gosh, that would have been quite the thump when that thing hit the ground. Look at all these huge boulders here. Let's find a way around here. The thing about the surface here is that it's very smooth and there's fine gravel on the surface, which makes it slick in spots. Give you an idea, there's one spot, smooth stone, fine gravel on top of it. And there are larger sections of that you need to navigate. It's not really too hard though. I haven't had any need to use my hands actually in this whole canyon. There's been a few little steps, but just watching my step when I'm on those smooth rocks. You see the walls around us? Wow. And then there's that boulder right in the center. Just so impressive that that whole thing fell from above. just like Anniversary Narrows. You don't want to be here during a thunderstorm or a earthquake. Who knows what that would be like. And so the canyon continues to wind around with some very impressive walls here. Quite an echo. Continuing to wind my way through this canyon. Look at these impressive walls all around. For another 360-degree view of this impressive canyon. Look at these walls all around. Sheer cliffs. We were looking down on this area from the Liberty Bell Trail. Seems pretty endless. Wow. If you like canyons, this is the place for you. Now the floor of the canyon is pretty much gravel, deep gravel. Clean your shoes out often gravel. But every corner you turn presents another amazing, amazing view. And just imagining how this canyon was formed over time, trying to puzzle together the history of this place. Look at that little pile of rocks up there. Evidence that water was that high enough to deposit these rocks on this ledge. which means that during that experience, I would have been under maybe 25, 30 feet of water had I been here during that flood. And imagine how the water would rush down this canyon. See, there it is again. River rock deposited up on the ledge there. Wow. And the water had to be wild enough that it was circulating rocks that high and depositing them. So we're looking at potentially 30 feet of water shooting through this canyon at that time when these rocks were deposited at this level. And to have the rocks deposited so high means that that 30 feet of water shooting through the canyon was not just clean, pure water, but it was full of sand, stones, gravel, boulders churning around. That's the action of that. It's just like sand blasted these walls. And see, you can see, you know, some of these rocks that are deposited up on these ledges are pretty large. You know, we're talking 10, 15 pounds. What must water have been doing to lift 15-pound boulders 15, 20, 30 feet into the air, or into the water, and then deposited them on ledges? Wow. It's unimaginable. Now we've come out into an opening here, open area, and I'm going to guess that that high point in the distance is on the other side of the Colorado River, which means that we're closing in on the Colorado River banks here. Let's get a 360-degree view where we are. Where we came from. Then again, the direction we're going. Here we are, continuing to wind our way down to the Colorado River. And I understand that where it said there was no ladder, that there is actually a ladder at the hot springs. And with a ladder at the hot springs, that means that I can do the loop and emerge from along the high trail. So that's gonna be nice. In the Narrows again. And here we are on the banks of the Colorado River. Pretty peaceful in this section of river. Wow. And there's the canyon that the Colorado River is forming over time. And further down, it gets pretty wild. It's going to work its way through the Grand Canyon. Okay, now I understand that there's a bit of a puzzle getting around the base here and then finding that upper loop. So we'll do some navigating. A lot of rabbit trails all over the place, little trails that split off, and you ask yourself which is the right one, but we'll see if we can navigate around here and find the looks like there's some trails up ahead there. So I'm going to guess I need to be up in that area, find my way up there, and then I'd be near the hot springs. So we'll find out. Hope I can find the hot springs from here. They're pretty amazing. Okay, basically navigating by logic. I feel like a trail needs to be here because there's no way to get around up there. So, sure enough, this looks like the trail that's going to lead around this area and over to the hot springs. So, let's just find out. Okay, we're in that section along the Colorado River as we navigate from the wash that we came down, the canyon trail, to the hot springs and then up the higher trail. Wow, look at the color of this water. So clear, beautiful. Looking both directions on the Colorado River from this little peninsula cliff that I'm standing on. See some kayakers up the river heading down in this direction. What a great place. And I believe the trail continues up in that direction. You see some people coming down. So that's the way to the hot spring. Onward. Well, this section is pretty well marked. So we continue navigating around the banks of the Colorado River. And you can see some other hikers up on that point. And that's where I was standing a moment ago. So let's continue on up here and see where we connect with the hot springs. This is where we leave the Colorado River. And one thing about this section is it's well marked. And I think I can hear the sounds of people up ahead that are in the hot spring. Okay, the little passageway continues to be very well marked. So now it's telling me to climb this crack. So I think I'm going to need to put my phone down, because I have hiking sticks in one hand and phone in the other. So here we go. Well, that wasn't too bad. It looks a lot more imposing going down than coming up, as so many situations are when you're on rocks. But the trail continues to be very well defined. So as long as you skirt the river and stay with the pointers, your chances of getting lost are very small. Continuing on up this trail, let's take another look at the Colorado River. So beautiful. And there's that green look, turquoise. Well, looks like it's time to put the phone down, because we got a little sliding to do here. No, not too bad though. Trail continues. To take this additional deviation, which gives a great view down the Colorado River, then along the river, then up toward Hoover Dam. And then just to look around. The trail that we want is over in this direction. I just did this little deviation to just check out the view. This looked like a great viewpoint. Still getting some nice trail markings. I just came down this way, so that's marking the trail on the way back. And it looks like, oh, this is a nice little oasis. Looks like this is the way to go. So there are some trail markings, and there are also some rocks along the trail saying continue on this way, do not head up the canyon there. So let's continue. By the way, there is a ladder at the hot springs, but I hear that it is not too stable, so we're going to check that out and see what the situation is. Okay, onward. And we are continuing along in this direction. Okay, restrooms here. And the Colorado River there. And I am going to guess that the hot springs are up this way. We'll see. And indeed, we are entering a canyon. And my guess would be that the hot springs are in this canyon. But we'll find out. But heading out back out that canyon, turned out that no, the hot springs were not there. So let's head out and let's see where else they could be in search of the hot spring. Well, I'm back at this point. No, you don't want to go down that way. I needed to take a U-turn here and head up the canyon in this direction. So I got a little more view of the Colorado riverbanks than I needed, but that's all right. Heading toward the hot spring. And now you can see the runoff from the hot spring. Floor of the canyon. A bit wet, so we'll try to keep our feet as dry as possible. And now the water is getting a little more, a little deeper, but nothing really bad at this point. Looks really nice. Look at the canyon here. Sounds of running water. We are approaching the hot spring. Must be not too far up ahead. Let's continue. Okay, here we are. Lower hot tub or hot spring. And the big bad ladder. And the upper hot spring. So we're going to climb that ladder. So far I've kept my feet dry. I don't know if I'm going to be able to continue that. Looks like they got a little rope there. So that is nice. That helps. Now this should be interesting. We made it up the ladder. Now we're in the upper hot spring. All thought of keeping my feet dry is gone. Okay, we just came from that spot and we're heading on up. Well, I can say I'm not worried about getting my feet wet anymore. I think I took a shower. But now we're the upper area and we should be emerging onto a trail soon. Up through this opening. Okay, I tried so hard to keep my feet dry. Then I hit that ladder, which was a total shower. And so every part of me is soaking wet at this point, including my feet. So I'm going to need to wring out my socks and then continue onward up this trail. But it was a good experience. A lot of people having fun down in the hot spring. You can see the canyon there. And it was truly warm. It wasn't too hot, it wasn't boiling, but it was really warm. And so it was that was a warm shower I took on that ladder. Okay, I understand there's a trail down here, but it looks like there's a way up here too. I'm going to take the high road after I wring my socks out. There's a return route down in the wash, but there's also a trail that's a little higher. I'm going to stick to the higher trail for a while. I've been in washes all day, so we'll try a little higher. And there you can see, looking back to the hot springs, and yeah, my feet are wet, but at least I wrung my socks out. Good experience. Actually, a little trail up here, so I'm going to just scope this out a little bit. It doesn't look like it's very well traveled, but I'm going to leave the wash behind there, and I'm going to head along up this trail. Let's see what happens. Well, there is a trail of sorts up here. We don't know where it leads. Worst that could happen, I've got to retrace my way back down to the wash, but let's imagine that this is going to lead somewhere. It looks like it ends a number of times here, but look at this. Looks like it's weaving down through this canyon. Let's just continue on this, see where it leads. Looks like a dead end. Yes, I could go over the next ridge and keep climbing these ridges, but now it's turning into a real climbing situation. I know that I'm on the edge of cliffs, so I'm going to retrace my way back to back where I came from, maybe take the wash trail. Wow, it's easy to get disoriented in the hills up here. I was wandering around in those hills trying to find a mountain route, got turned around, didn't even know if I'd get my way back to where I started, but it looks like this is the canyon down here that I need to be in. So I just need to work my way down there and we're home free. Okay, back in the wash. That threw me off a little bit time-wise, but it's nice to be back on track. As evidenced by all the foot traffic here. So we're heading up this wash, and we should be coming out near Highway 93 where we started. So had I just stayed to the wash after passing through the Arizona hot spring, it would have been, I would have ended up here. There may be a mountain route that's higher up, but it just wasn't looking that way, and I'll be running out of light soon, so not like I had a whole day to explore. But wow, how easy it is to get disoriented in these hills and washes. So you always want to have a plan and have some point of reference, let you know where you are. Okay, onward. Okay, there are good markings along the way here. There's a marking. It says go up this canyon, but I don't see any other ways you could go anyway. So we are on course. Back in the Narrows. A few little obstacles in this canyon to surmount, but not horribly difficult up to this point. And this doesn't look too bad. Good news. Looks like we're heading to the parking lot and the trailhead. And they're telling us not to continue going up the wash, but to head up this direction. Nice little indicators. Okay, continuing on up. Okay, we just came over a rise and look what we're looking at. There's Highway 93 with Fortification Hill in the background, far background. And we're closing in on our starting point. In fact, I can even see the parking area up ahead. So that's good news. It's been a long circuit. We've done the entire Arizona Hot Spring Loop, plus up and back to Liberty Bell. So that's all the trails in this area. What an awesome day. And there's the Highway 93 bridge. And the parking area is just on the other side of that bridge. So this is a nice way to return, totally different than the way we came. Wow, look at the dark skies. I think that this day turned out perfect, because had I not done Liberty Bell first, and I'd done this loop first, I may not have had the energy left for Liberty Bell. And had I done this side of the loop first, I would have had to go down that frightening ladder, which, you know, maybe I wouldn't have actually done that. And I would have done an out and back. But by doing Liberty Bell and then going down the trail on the right after Liberty Bell, going down White Rock Canyon, and then circling around at the Colorado River, and then heading up to the hot springs, and then heading back by way of this wash, it pretty much made it so that I did the entire loop for Arizona Hot Spring plus Liberty Bell, and I did it before the weather set in. And it's just about the end of the day here now. We're going to lose our light soon, but Highway 93 up there is where I'm parked, right on the other side of that bridge ahead. So timing could not have been better today. I'd like to take credit for it, but I did not plan it this way. It just all came together in the right sequence. Never been on any of these trails before, so I wasn't sure where the trails would actually connect. But fortunately, there were some good markings, number of little green dots, and then arrows and signs, and pretty much stay in the canyons, and you can't go wrong. So it's just good that it all turned out this way. Now, for that moment, I was I lost my orientation up in the hills, and it's just amazing how you can go up into hills like that, high canyon areas, and everything starts to look the same. I thought I was going to retrace my way back when I found out I was in a dead end, and I was not able to find my way back. So it was, you know, I just navigated around the canyons where I thought the exit wash was going to be, and I was fortunate to find it. Now, had this been a summer day, 115 degrees, and I was low on water, that would have been a life-threatening situation. So it's always good to do some basic things that are safety precautions. One is when you're in low areas like this that can get up to 120 degrees in the summer, it's best not to be here. Rather, you know, here I am in January. So, and the same with the mountains. Were I in the Mount Charleston wilderness at this time, I'd be in the thick of those clouds. I'd be in a blizzard situation. It'd probably be 20 degrees, maybe even colder. And that would be a life-threatening situation. So, great thing about the trails in the Las Vegas area is that you can choose to take trails that are at an altitude that fits the season. And you can pretty much hike these trails all year around, as long as you take the lowlands in the winter and the high mountains in the summer. And it's kind of interesting because you can pretty much stay in the same temperature all year around. I don't know anywhere else that you have that opportunity than the Las Vegas area and all the trails around here. You can hike in 60, 75 degrees all year round. So that's a cool thing. Okay, back to the trailhead and make our exit from these canyon washes. Great adventure today.